Let's talk about the cost of doing a 1031 exchange. So 1031 exchange can provide you with benefits, right? And then it's offer value versus cost analysis to help you determine if a worthwhile strategy for your investment need is a 1031 exchange. So let's break down different kind of costs. This is just more like a preference guide. I'm gonna tell you some of the typical costs that might involve in the transaction, but you need more specific information, you want to contact your qualified intermediary and your closing agent, your real estate agent, right? And also your legal and tax advisor to get all different fees. Basically, the first thing is the QI fee. One of the most typical costs is going to be the cost to use the QI service. So it's going to be service fee. So the fees vary based on the complexity of the transaction, typically ranging anywhere from $500 to $2,500 or more, depending on the complexity. So if you do something more like a complex exchange, like a reverse exchange or construction exchange, so the fee for the QI might be higher. Or if you exchange just to buy one new property, then the fee gonna be lower. Suppose you sell one property and buy two new properties, right? So they might count as per property. So for example, a standard deferred exchange might cost around about $1,000 in QI fee. The next thing you want to consider is the closing cost. So both the sale of the relinquished property and the purchase of the replacement property incur closing costs. So this is typical like when you buy or sell property, right? So when you sell, you're going to have the seller closing costs. So these including title insurance, escrow fee, transfer tax recording fee. These can range anywhere from 2 to 5% of the property sales price. So when you buy the new property, depending on if you buy one property or two properties, you're going to have one or two set off buyer closing costs. So similar to the seller closing costs, but might also include loan original fees if financing is involved. So these costs can range from 2 to 5% of the property purchase price. For example, selling a $500,000 property and buying a $600,000 property might incur $15,000 to $25,000 in total closing costs. So this is very hypothetical, right? Because this really depends on your state, how big your property is, and many other factors. The third title cost is the legal and tax advisor fees. So professional advice is crucial for ensuring compliance with IRS regulation and maximize the benefit of a 1031 exchange. So there's legal fees. If you use an attorney, they might charge hourly rate or flat fee to draft and review documents. So say for example, if you're in New York, then you are required to have your contract drafted by an attorney, so there's no way to avoid it. So the fee can range from $500 to $5,000 or more, depending on the complexity of the exchange. The next thing is the tax advisor fee. So CPAs or tax advisor can provide crucial guidance to the tax implication of the exchange. So fee can range from anywhere $200 to $2,000 or more. So for example, combined legal and tax advisor fees might total $1,500 to $7,000. The next stop is financing cost. So if you need to finance the purchase of replacement property, there will be additional costs, such as loan original fees. So the fee can range from 0.5% to 1% of the loan amount. The interest rate, the cost of borrowing money over time. For example, financing $400,000 loan at 1% original fee could cost $4,000 upfront, plus ongoing interest payment. The next cost is going to be miscellaneous. There might be other minor costs involved in a 1031 exchange, such as appraisal fee. It might be necessary to determine the value of the properties involved. They typically range from $300 to $500 or more. And then also there's inspection fees, ensuring the property is in good condition. So it could be costing anywhere $200, $500, $1,000 or more. So example, combined appraisal and inspection fee might be $500 to $1,000 or more. When we look at the cost, right, we want to look at the value versus the cost analysis. So while the cost associated with the 1031 exchange can add up, the value derived from a tax deferral can far outweigh the expenses. So here is a simple analysis to illustrate this. For example, so the sale price of the relinquished property is $500K. Capital gain tax rate is 20%. The capital gain tax in this case is $100,000. So the cost of a 1031 exchange, including all fees and costs, hypothetically say $20K, you still have a great tax deferral benefit, right? Because you get to defer $100K in capital gain tax, and you can reinvest the full $500K to a new property rather than the $400,000 you would have after paying taxes. So the $20,000 fee is probably worth it in this case. There are also potential return on reinvestment. So for the annual return rate, say 5%, investment amount is $500K. So using a 1031 exchange versus a $400K after paying taxes. So after 1 year, your investment could grow as follows. So with 1031 exchange, just growing by 8%, you're gonna have $540,000. Without 1031 exchange, you're gonna have $432,000. So the difference in return, $108,000, significantly exceed the cost of doing the 1031 exchange, which is hypothetically in our example in 20K. With that, let's move on to our next topic.